The reason why you're nervous around hot women, so the women that you find attractive and not women that you do not find attractive, is because you're running on the wrong code. You're operating on the wrong operating system. So what do I mean by that? So first of all, there's nothing wrong with you as a human being. What's wrong with you is inside of you. So you should think of yourself as, let's say, hardware. Let's say you're a MacBook, and your MacBook is running on an operating system, so software, for instance, yeah? And that software is written in a specific code. And in that code is written, whenever you see a hot woman, she is above you, and I need to pedestalize her because she's better than me, and I am not good enough. And I'm going to explain to you in a second where this is all coming from and how to solve this. So don't worry, bro. So because of this code that you've been operated or programmed with, you are essentially looking at her, or you're seeing reality in a different way, because a guy who doesn't have this code, who doesn't run on, let's say, me, if I see a hot woman, I don't think she's better than me. My clients don't think she's better than me, because we don't have the bug in our code anymore, right? We've removed the bugs in our operating system, so we depedestalized her and brought her to down to our level, because we love humans and we love women as well. But no one is better than us, essentially. Yeah. So that is essentially the paradigm and the code that we run on and operate on. And because your code is full of bugs and you think that she's better than you, that makes you needy, which makes you unattractive. And then you convey that kind of energy to her, which then makes her think you are actually unattractive, which then sort of it creates this negative feedback loop, so that whenever you approach a woman, or you are on a date with a hot woman, you become nervous, you convey to her that you're unattractive, she then finds you unattractive, and then you have this negative feedback cycle of, I'm actually unattractive because no woman wants to be with me. They either reject my approaches, I don't get any response, I get ghosted on text messages, and they always ghost me after the date. Well, it's because you are actually telling her that you are unattractive. And this is obviously not solved by lines, by weird pickup lines and whatever, because the flaw in that thinking is that you are trying to, if you pretend that you're like a MacBook right now again, you're trying to add a new keyboard or a new cover, or get the MacBook in a new color. So you're changing the exterior. But what you actually need to change is you need to fix the fucking bugs. If you use lines, the code will just be extended, but the bugs are still in the fucking system. So we need to remove the bugs. And I'm going to share with you how we can fucking remove the bugs. So the bugs are actually in the system because of a trashy childhood. So what do I mean by that? During your first 15, 18 years of life, you've been conditioned with a specific code based on the environment that you were in. That was society, your parents, high school, etc., etc. We're going to focus on parents today. We're not going to focus on society, whatever. And because of how you've been programmed to live based by your parents, you are essentially a Kevin. I call it the Kevin syndrome. Yeah, that's why you're not hot, but nervous around hot women. Now, right now, before you click off, I want you to give me a chance, because I want to explain to you mother wound and father wound, the concept of those two. And I know this might sound a bit woohoo. It sounded woohoo to me at first as well when I encountered this. But trust me, this was a game changer for my dating and my relationship life. Because if you do not solve this, bro, if you don't rewrite the code, man, even if you attract a woman with the right lines, you might attract a very toxic woman. Or even if she's a great woman, she's going to fucking leave you, because she's going to find out that you have not healed your shit. You haven't worked through your inner shit, while she has, and that's going to make you unattractive again. Yeah. So why do you run on a different code? How is that related to your childhood? So first of all, there are two types of wounds that fuck up your dating life: the mother wound and the father wound. And that is related to the fact that you either had an absent father, like me, or an extremely weak masculine father, like a weak masculine role model, who showed you, or whose masculine way or frame was essentially, I'm going to be nice to your mom, I'm going to be pushover, I'm never going to stand up for myself, and I'm gonna let her run the show. So he was like a pussy. And then on top of that, he never truly approved of you. He never gave you compliments, because our dads, I mean, they never truly shared emotions, because that father like generation, they struggled with emotional expression, you know? And because of that, as a kid, you interpreted this as I'm unworthy, because if my dad doesn't approve of me, or tells me that he's proud of me, even though he's my dad, like that means there's something wrong with me. Because why would the people that put me onto this earth, and that's all subconscious in your psyche, right? It's not like something rational, by the way, bro. That cannot be rationally, I mean, it can be rationally explained, but as a child, you don't have this consciousness yet. So you make subconscious assumptions about actions that your parents take, or the lack of actions that you take. And because of the lack of, let's say, approval of your dad, you essentially create the first bug in your system that says, I'm not good enough. And this creates the father wound, because you don't get the masculine approval. Now, on top of that, we have the mother wound, which could be essentially your mom not validating you either, or being overprotective and telling you essentially that you are only good if you do X, Y, Z. For instance, my grandma who raised me, she always said like, you need to be liked by everyone, never be loud, don't like make sure that the neighbors like us, etc., etc. And if I didn't do these things, I was grounded. And now, like from a like an adult perspective, it makes sense. I have to follow certain rules, but if they make sense. But as a child, you interpret that as something, as like you're doing something that you're not supposed to do. So that means you believe that this is like there's something wrong inherently with your value as a human being, because again, you're too young to fucking understand all of this, the adult world. And because you lack the consciousness in that moment, you just try to make sense of it all, but you use the wrong assumptions. Again, you use the wrong code, and essentially because of the wrong code that you're using, you install bugs in that code. And essentially you start never truly trusting yourself to be good enough to around someone, unless you provide someone something, to your parents, to your mom, or to your dad. Otherwise, if you don't provide these things, they will not tell you that you're a good boy, that they love you, or that they're proud of you. You know, the good grades, the achievements in sports, you know, these kind of things. And because your parents never validated you, you then let that show up in your romantic relationships. Now, why does it show up in your romantic relationships? And this might be like a mind fuck to you. It was for me at the beginning. Yeah. The reason why this code shows up only, bro, or most predominantly around hot women. So people are like women that you find attractive, or people, let's say, if you're like someone who, like, if you were to see a celebrity, you would like get nervous if you would see your favorite football player, Ronaldo, Messi, or whatever, because in that moment your code is they are better than me. Yeah, because of you pedestalize them. Now, why is this all happening? But let's focus on women as well, by the way. So why does this happen? Because the code that you're running on is stored in your nervous system, and and now this is going to sound like really weird, but also in your neurological pathways. Yeah, so some parts in your brain, amygdala for instance, as well. So now you might say, what the fuck, bro, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, because like, why does something that is related to my parents show up in my romantic relationships? Now it's about heart intelligence. Like, there's this famous quote from one French guy, like French philosopher. He said, the heart has reasons the mind cannot explain. How often have you said, oh, if she cheats on me, or how often have you heard guys say, or if she cheats on me, I'm going to leave her, only for them not to leave her? How often have you heard guys say, yeah, well, I'm going to approach her. If I would have approached her, if X, Y, Z, they get nervous. Heart. Their heart, like, it's reflected in the heart, is like the nervous system sends strong physiological responses to the heart. It makes them tight here in the chest area, and then they freeze because they are overwhelmed with the strong emotional response in their body, which is in their nervous system. And all of this is based on the fact that they've been running on the wrong code, that they pedestalize hot women. Now, the reasons is specifically why this shows up in cold approach with hot women, or on dates, or in romantic relationships with women that you love, is because love, or like when you find someone attractive, especially as a man, when you find her attractive, you often future pace. You create already like a story around her, like you want to marry her because she has nice boobs and a nice bum. That activates again your love center, like your love art, how do I call it, the heart intelligence center in your body. And because you then suddenly attach a lot of value to her, love value, like you it activates the same pathways in your system and your nervous system that were activated when it comes to your parents. Because it's, and this might sound really weird, but love is equals love. The love that you have to your parents is somewhat, say, as strong as the love that you have, or like can be compared to the love that you have to a woman that you find attractive. Yeah. Or let's say if love is too strong of a word for you, use emotions. Yeah, the emotional reaction, because love fundamentally is just a physiological or an emotional reaction inside of your body, and that is all stored in your nervous system. So fundamentally, your entire nervous system or your entire operating system like is full of bugs, and we need to like kick the fucking bugs out, because there's something like, let's call it, these bugs are beliefs. Yeah, so you're like running on beliefs. Each belief that you've been conditioned with in your like first 18, 20 years, in the word believe, this is going to be also part of the solution of how to get rid of the bugs. I'm not sure you can fucking see this, but in the word believe, let me write it down here, man. In the word believe lies a powerful word, which is lie, bro. Most of your beliefs from the first 18 years are lies because of the wrong interpretation that you had during your childhood days. Okay, so I think I made my fucking point clear. Now, how do you change this? How do you let go of those bugs? How do you let go of the lies that you've been living with? Easy, bro. It's actually, I mean, it's simple. It's super simple, bro. So if you want help with this, by the way, you can join my academy, where I teach my guys to become Hercules and like let go for good of the nervousness around hot women, and like decode female nature and become super attractive, magnetic, charismatic men. You know, like the guys who walk into a room and everyone notices them, not because of they're so tall, but they appear so tall because they're so confident, bro. So if that's the kind of guy that you want to become, join my academy. There's a link somewhere, click on it, and then I'll see you there. Now, the solution starts with accepting that most of your beliefs are lies. Then the second step is you have an responsibility in your life. Responsibility means you have an ability to respond. You have not chosen the cards that you've been given, yeah, but you choose how to play those cards in the game of life. Yeah, it's like poker. Now you have the ability to respond, or you have an ability to rewrite the code and change it from Kevin to fucking Hercules code. Again, there's nothing wrong with you, but you have to start wanting to change from Kevin and become Hercules, which is your authentic, best possible self, bro. How do you do that? Step number one, gain more self-respect, bro. And you do that by doing things that scare the shit out of you. The life that you want lies on the other side of the task that you're trying to avoid. So map out a fear scale from 0 to 10, and then map out, okay, what are my biggest fears? Most likely talking to hot women. Now, I don't want you to talk immediately, to jump to talk to hot women if you are so fucking scared to talk to hot women, because it would just make, like, it would just create an error 404, because it would like you would shit the bed because your nervous system would implode. Yeah, your nervous system would completely go like in overdrive. So we need to work our way up to be able to talk to hot women in a way that this fear, which is now a 10, becomes actually just a 5. Yeah, but now it is a 10 still. So we need to find out, okay, what are fears that are just an 8, a 9, a 7, a 6. And if your biggest fear is to talk to hot women, which is a 10, but your next biggest fear is, I don't know, record yourself at the gym, if that's an 8, and you're actually capable of doing that, or you've never done it, but you are okay with doing it, then you would start just doing this activity. And you would do essentially, you map out all activities from 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. And then you do each activity that is just ahead of the fear scale of you. There's just 1 point ahead of or above of where you currently are comfortable with doing activities in. Yeah. So that you work your way up from 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 to 10. And then over time, the activity that used to be a 10 will then become a 5 or a 6, because over time you'll realize that you weren't actually afraid of the thing only, but also it was because it was unfamiliar. Because of the unfamiliarity, it was such a like massive fear in you. And then over time, through gaining more self-respect, you actually kick the fucking bugs out. So that's step number 2. Yeah. While we also like want to look at the fear scale, there's also another specific task that is about desensitization, which is, if you are okay with talking to, there's several levels to desensitization. For instance, if you are okay with talking to strangers, at the gym or at a coffee shop, your next level, but you're still nervous to talk to women, your next step should be compliment strangers. Then because that is obviously more requires more social investment, so that will create a little bit more fear. Once you're comfortable doing that, that's when you start saying hi to women. You can talk to random women, they don't have to be like models. And then you work your way up to saying hi and starting like small conversations with like more attractive women. Once you're comfortable with doing that, then you start complimenting women, and then you just continue like escalating essentially on that fear ladder. And that's how you gain way more. So that's how you gain self-respect. That's how you show yourself that you are actually worthy of whatever the fuck you want in your life, bro. And then there's one more thing, bro, and this was a true game changer in my life. Was two things actually. Number one, write a letter to your parents. You don't have to send it, just write it like for yourself, and like voice all the anger, the all feelings that you have towards them. Yeah. And you can say things like, hey mom, for instance, for me, what I wrote down: Mom, I felt disappointed. No, I felt devastated that I wanted to give me up for adoption. For Dad, hey, you've never been there for me. It really hurt me. Yada yada yada. And then like I just threw it away or burned it actually, and that was super powerful because it helped me release all the shit. It helped me release the bugs from the code. That's point number one. Second exercise you can do: have you ever asked yourself who's actually taking away the permission for you to, let's say, when you're like when you freeze to talk to women, like who's taking away the permission to talk to them? Like, if you're completely real right now, if you're like honest to yourself, who's taking the permission away? Who's in your head? Is it her saying no? Does she walk around with a sign saying fuck off, leave me alone? Or is it actually you creating that story in your head and walking around with that sign in your head saying don't talk to her because you're a creep, don't talk to her because you're not good enough? You are taking away the permission. You are giving yourself the permission, because if you are creating the thoughts in your head, who's listening? You. No one else can hear your thoughts, bro. So if you are telling yourself already like I don't believe in myself, no one else will believe in yourself, will believe in you. So it starts also from giving yourself the permission and allowing yourself to shut down. And I should have said that earlier. your fucking inner critique, you know, the voice that always criticizes you. You gotta shut that down, bro. And yeah, man, if you want help with that, click on the link somewhere, and I'd love to see you in my community, bro. Love and peace. Ciao, ciao.